So today we see the chapter 2, personnel security and risk management. And in the first class, we have already completed chapter 1 and its one security governance through principles and policies. So in any scenario, any situation, people is the most weakest link in our organization, in cyber security, in IT, in any environment. People is the most weakest link. And another thing is that in any scenario, our first priority is to save the human lives. So two things. First of all, people is the most weakest point in cyber security or IT security. And we have to more focused on human safety, human lives. So these are two things. At least you will get two questions in this related to a statement. A professional, if we see something like personnel, that's mean those people who are involved in our organization. That people may our colleagues, may your organization's employee, your vendor, third party, your customer, because we have to ensure the customer security. We have to provide the customer awareness program. So personnel means anyone who takes service from this organization. That people may be the internal people or external people, third party, or any service taker or service provider. So we have to ensure the security of those people. The security may be the logical security, maybe the physical security. Any types of security we have to provide. And we'll see some risk management concept regarding this personal security. What types of risks we have to face in the personal life, personal activities. So last day, we have already discussed about the security. And the three triad of security was the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's a mixed domain. Some portion covered domain 1. This is the security and risk management. And another thing is that, it's it will get each and everything from the domain 1. So personal security policies. So first of all, we need to ensure the availability of the security things, security guideline or personal security policy, each and everything need to be in place, right place. It's like the constitution. So if you want to start a business, then policy must available there. If you want to start a new country, then country policy should be available there. Similarly, when we work in the security cell or IT department or security related department, first of all, we have to ensure the security policy. So who is responsible to develop or to approve the security policy? First of all, we discuss about the personnel. Personnel means the people who work in our organization or who give service or from whom we take the service. Any people related in our connected in our organization. That people may be our customer also. Security is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So personal security means how we ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the personnel. So how we ensure the security by applying or by treating a policy. So policy is the first priority, and this policy is approved by senior management, and policy is considered as the constitution of a organization. Policy is like the constitution. So frequently we cannot change the policy. It's comparatively the mandatory document, and it's not dynamic, static document. And policy is approved by senior management like CEO, AMD, and top level management of the organization. So top level management organization approved or write a document for personal security. That's been what type of activities the personnel can do and what types of activities the personnel cannot do. Actually, policy is defined like that. And it's a concise thing, it's not in details things, very concise. And if we want to know about details about the policy, then procedure help us. So procedure is non-mandatory. Procedure also the mandatory, step by step. And by following the procedure, actually we achieve our policies. This is the main thing. So if we summarize this discussion, first of all, policy is like the constitution. Policy is like number one, treated as constitution. Concise. Number three, it's mandatory. Number four, top management will approve this. Approve the policy. And if we say fifth, it's a static document. Static document, because frequently we cannot change this document frequently. And if we need the change, then a details discussion on this one and top management take necessary action to change or modify or update the policy. And if we want to achieve this policy, then we can take help for procedure. Procedure means step by step work. Step by step work. So we can elaborate these things like that ways. So if you want to understand the security governance, you must address the weakest link in your security chain, namely people. So very early in this chapter, they discuss about the thing that for security governance, people is the most weakest link. And several times they shared this statement, several times you get these types of statement. So how we control the people, how we ensure the security by applying the accountability or by ensuring the accountability. How we ensure the accountability? By providing the job description, by assigning role and responsibilities, by applying the access control. So without a job description, there is no consensus on what type of individual should be hired. This means that if you want to hire someone, before hiring that people, we have to ensure or we have to fix what type of role and responsibilities we have to send. So before hire any people, we need to assign or we need to fix what types of job that new hired people will do. Because most of the cases, some organization hire people and then they assign some job. Some organization, when circulate for a new position, they just circulate and they describe the description, which is more general. Most of the cases, they give a lots of description. Say for a 2 years experience or fresher employee, they say that CISSP certification, CISA certification is preferable. How can it possible? CISSP CISA is not the entry level uh, for entry level professional. At least you have 5 years experience is required to achieve this certification. So as a security professional, we need to aware about these things. Job role typically align with the rank or level of privilege. First class, we say that identification, authentication, and authorization, auditing. So if you log in a system by providing your user ID and password, then you will get some menu. You will get some access list or some functionalities. So each and every people will not get the similar types of menu because a branch manager or a senior manager will see some higher level report or can do some higher level activities. However, a newly joined people cannot do each and everything or cannot see each and everything. So actually the role and responsibilities or job roles is aligned to the rank, aligned to the level of privilege. Whereas job description map to especially assigned responsibilities and tasks. So role, responsibilities is different. So it depends on the level, in which level the people work. So in the chapter, personal security policies, they try to show hiring to firing. This means in onboarding to offboarding, each and everything they are trying to describe here. So candidate screening and hiring is the first priority. So before the candidates selection, most of the organization do some work which is the preventive action or preventive control or managerial preventive control, or sometimes we say that administrative preventive control. So administrative, why administrative? Because this job is done by the top management. Say which people is responsible to hire the people. Most of the cases we say that the HRD department is responsible to hire the people, human resource department. So when they circulate, some people is they need. Then when people apply for that position, before the interview, most of the organization check their appointed candidate. background check, it may be the educational history, checking reference, verifying education, interviewing colleagues, and checking police and government record for arrest or illegal activities. They may verify the identify through the fingerprint, driving license, birth certificate, and holding a personal interview. And holding a personal interview is the last portion. So before the action or when we are going to take a interview of that personnel or applicant, we need to verify this thing, background check, and under the background checking, we'll work in this related history, say educational history, reference checking. It's so much important. By checking the reference, it's ensure the accountability for that referees, and verifying the education or interviewing colleagues. Actually, we know about the people. Is it the correct people or about his intention? Each and everything we can get. We can collect the data, and depending on the data, we can, if the result is positive, we can call him for the interview. And performing the online background check is very much important nowadays, because when we access something like the Facebook ID, candidate's Facebook ID or LinkedIn ID, we can assess about his behavior, his mentality, or his creativity. That's why now performing online background check and reviewing the social networking account of applicants has become a standard practice for many organizations. So when check each and everything, and if he pass in each stage, his background checking is positive, he his performance in the interview is well, then if management want these people is qualityful and is the perfect people for my organization, then they decide we can appointment these people. So appointment is the second section, or onboarding is the second section. So before onboarding, we have to perform these activities, background check and interview. So during the onboarding section, employment agreement and policies is very much important. So before joining our organization, the employee will know each and everything. What should he do and what cannot he do? Do and don't, this information he will get here. And if he agree with the policy, he just sign, I agree this policy, and he can join the organization. So here, once a qualified but not disqualified candidate is found and interviewed, they can be offered the job. If accepted, then we take the agreement about the policies. And onboarding is the process of adding new employee to the organization. So onboarding can also include organizational socialization and orientation. So some organizations say at a time 50 people they keep the job in the organization. In these cases, most of the time they arrange a orientation program, and in the orientation program actually they provide the policies, handbook, HRM policies, and different types of documentation they provide. So well-designed onboarding can result in higher level of job satisfaction. So these types of activities, when some people know what types of job I have to perform in this organization, what types of facilities I will get from here, and what are my main role and responsibilities in this organization. He is mentally satisfied that this organization is good because each and everything is very clear here. So a new employee will provided a computer or network user account when he agree with the policies and he accept user acceptance policy, he accept, then we do this thing. And this is a function through the identity and access management system of an organization, which will provision the account and assign necessary privilege and access. The onboarding process is also used when the employee's role or position change or when that person is awarded additional level of privilege or access. So these types of personal engagement or employment, it may be the temporary employment or he may be the permanent employee. Sometimes we need to check the background. However, we're going to conduct with a third party. We're going to make agreement with a third party to get some services from that organization. So it's not only about the permanent employee, it also about for the temporary employee as well as for the third party or vendor agreement also is necessary here. So when a new employee is hired, they should sign an employee agreement. Such a document outlines the rules and restriction of the organization, security policy, details of the job description, violation, and consequences, and the minimum or probationary length of the time the position is to be filled by the employee. So in these types of agreement, each and everything is well defined. Each and everything is well defined. So an acceptable use policy defines what is and what is not acceptable activity, practice, or use for company equipment and resources. Non-disclosure agreement is very important. Actually, non-disclosure agreement is always ensure the confidentiality. So as for example, I work in a organization. So as an employee, I have some bindings. I will not share any confidential information with anyone. I cannot use organization's confidential or secret information for my personal business. So by ensuring the non-disclosure agreement NDA, and NDA actually protect the confidential information for the organization. So violation of NDA are often made with strict penalties. So if we violate the NDA, then punishment may be applicable for that organization. So any question up to this point? If you have any question, anytime you can ask me. So just for a question and answer session. Okay, can you please answer the number 50 number question? You just text in the. So we have already got some answer. So most of the professional they answer the question is A, role based. So what type of access control allow the owner of a file to grant other user access to its using an access control list? What type of access control allow the owner of a file to grant other user access to it using an access control list? So can anyone please explain why uh, answer A is correct? Anyone please? Okay, so Rajrupa, if your microphone is okay, you can explain why A is the correct answer.
Because it's access control lists, right? So the owner of the file is using an access control list for other users. So the other users will have different roles. So he'll just go based on the role-based categories of users, and he will allot them each group of the role basically.
Okay, so we will see the explanation now. Chapter 5, question number 15. Okay, so chapter 5.
I believe it is discretionary, right? I believe its answer is discretionary. Owner of the file is having the control, means that's discretionary.
I also go discretionary.
Yeah, because it is a concept is my life, my rule, like that. Right. That's what you have to remember. Discretionary means if I am the owner, I have the rights. Suppose if it is my Google Drive, I have the privilege to who I need to add, who I need to remove. That's my right. So that's discretionary.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I ask, I'm going to hear. By discretionary access control is the correct answer. So actually discretionary access control, or what is this? Discretionary access control, in this access control system, the user or owner of the system has right to modify the role and or responsibilities. As for example, I am the owner of the system, so I want to assign some extra right into some user's role, or if I want to revoke some role or right, then I can do it in the discretionary access control. However, in the mandatory access control or role-based access control, actually I have no right to do these types of things. Yeah, that's why D is the correct answer. Discretionary access control. Yeah, so the explanation is available here. When the owner of a file makes the decision about who has right or access privilege to it, their using discretionary access control. And role-based access control would grant access based on a subject role, while a rule-based control would base the decision on a set of rules or requirement. So if we miss any question, not an issue. It's a great thing for us that at least one thing we learn from our mistake. So employee oversight. So after joining our organization, some job description or some job is assigned that people. So daily work is doing, and drafting job responsibilities or privilege chief can also result in security violation. This just means that, say, I join as a officer in an organization, and after 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, I just got promotion and I work as a senior officer. So first thing is that before assigning my senior officer role, the organization or system administrator do some specific work. First of all, the administrator will revoke the role from that officer and assign new role as a senior officer role to the user. And if we are not doing this one, say you hold the senior officer role as well as officer role, then this work is called this situation is called the privilege script. So one person have multiple role, and when one people have these types of multiple role, he or she may do some unethical work or they may misuse their role. That's why drifting job responsibilities or privilege can also result in security violation. It's very much important. Why? Because that people may do some unethical activities here. So mandatory vacation is also very important because by providing the mandatory vacation, actually the organizations find out the irregularities of that people. In the question, you will get some option like actually mandatory vacation that people may enjoy his life and he can reveal his boring. Different types of option you will get, but main thing is that to find out the irregularities of that people's role. By providing the mandatory vacation, we can find out, because when that people go for 15 days or 10 days or 1 month, another people is assigned to that people's job. When the new people work in his dates and play the same role, he or she can find out the irregularities if that people did it. So mandatory vacation is very much important here. So if we see that what types of person will get in the regard of mandatory vacation. Okay, it's related to this one. So here in the question, they said that and accounting people, that's mean the people who work in the accounting department for payroll systems in an organization, was recently arrested for participating in an embezzlement scheme. The employee transferred money to a personal account and then shifted fund around between other accounts every day to disguise the fraud for months. Which of the following control might have the best allowed the earlier detection of this fraud? So, number one, separation of duties. Number two, least privilege. Number three, defense in debt. Number four, mandatory vacation. So the main thing is that early detection, earlier detection of this fraud. So what will be the correct answer?
I think separation of duties.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyone, please answer.
I think the answer is B, since we're looking into the detection part of the offense.
Okay, just text me in the chat box. Please answer each and everybody. When you answer the question, if your answer will be wrong, then definitely you will think that how can I miss this question. At least one question you can understand, you can solve. Okay, thank you. Many people answer this question. So the question is from chapter 1. Okay, last day we solved this question. So chapter 1, 50 number. So here one thing is that the question is talking about best allow the earlier detection of this fraud. So someone answer the answer is A. Most of the people for detection of taking the vacation. Okay. Rahul D, Toshaben D. So actually, A, what is the difference between A and two options we can eliminate, right? B and C. Most of the cases here is the keyword is the best option. So each and every option may be correct. However, which is the best option? So we can eliminate easily two things. We have confusion among the option A and option D. So separation of duties, that's mean someone create the transaction or make the transaction and another people will authorize the transaction. Separation of duties. Or another thing is that some people work on some specific tasks as well as some another people do their others. In a bank, only the cashier or who work in the cash management system, they will do the transaction, financial transaction, cash receipt or payment. Who work in the loan department, he will sanction the loan. It's called the separation of duties. Role, each and everybody's role is different. And in some cases, someone make the transaction, another people have authorized the transaction. It's called the separation of duties. But this thing is not about a specific test. Here, They say that the employee transferred money to a personal account and then shifted fund around between others' account every day, to disguise the fraud for a month. 1 month. The duration is 1 month. So if we apply this one, in the first day, we can find out the fraud. This transaction is not correct. Why you make this transaction? Easily we can find it very early in the transaction. And the first day we can find out. So it's about the fraudental for a month, long time. That's why if we ensure the mandatory vacation, then easily we can find out the fraud, because in this time another people work in that desk. So I am the culprit. I do that irregular activities. So when I go to the vacation or I enjoy the vacation, in that time you just work in my desk and do each and everything what I did. So easily you can find out what types of fraud activities is performed by me. That's why I think correct answer is D. Okay, we'll see is it true or false. Question number 52. Okay. Question number 52 is about the mandatory vacation program is required that the employee take continuous period of time off each every and revoke their systems. And the purpose of this required vacation period is to disrupt any attempt to engage in the cover-up action necessary to hide the fraud and result in exposing the threat. So, can you understand why correct answer is A, D?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So last session I have already said that when we work in a specific topics, we'll try to solve some question. If our question's answer is correct, then we will ensure that yes, the concept is clear to me. So at least 5 questions on a specific topics we have to practice. And if we miss that question, then we have to go through that topics further, because we have some confusion about the topics. So when several people work together to prepare a crime, it's called collusion. So collusion is not a single people do it. Actually, several people, at least 2 people is doing this work. Collectively, they try to do these types of crime. This is called the collusion. So employing the principles of separation of duties, restricted job responsibilities, mandatory vacation, job rotation, and cross-training reduces the likelihood that a co-worker will be willing to collaborate on an illegal or abuse scheme because of the higher risks of detection. So here, most of the cases when you see that this word is about the italic word, so it's important for CISSP exam. You may get the question here in these topics. So collusion is performed by more than 2 people, number 1. Secondly, if you want to find out or detect the corruption or illegal activities, we can perform some things like the separation of duties, restricted job responsibilities, mandatory vacation, job rotation, cross training. So each and everything is important. So we have already discussed about the job mandatory vacation. So job rotation means Say after 3 months, employee may change his responsibilities and just change his job or change his responsibilities. I work in a bank, and my role is like general banking. That's mean I work in the general banking division. After a few months, management transferred me in the foreign exchange department. So it's called the job rotation. After 3 months or 3 years or 2 years, it depends on the policy of that organization. So after a predefined time, I will be auto transferred in another department. So by doing this one, when new employee work in my place, he or she can find out the illegal activities if I did. And cross-training is very much important. It has some merits as well as some risks. So cross-training means when someone work in a organization, say I work in the general banking section, my organization provide me some training on loan and advance. However, I don't work the loan and advance. So organization will be benefited by this way that if someone absent in the loan and advance, and if they require any people, suddenly he can transfer me or I can work in absence of that people. And the main risk is that when some people work in these types of activities, he or she get frequently training in different department training. One man can know each and everything of the system, and this is a threat for that organization. He or she can do a great fraudulent activities by his knowledge. So the cross training has some merits as well as demerits. So collusion and other privilege abuse can also be reduced through strict monitoring of special privilege and privileged account, such as those and administrator root or others users. So when some people join in a organization, initially the management, if don't assign the role, the administrator will create the user but don't assign any role, because management is still not give the permission or don't approve the role of this employee. So initially the employee will not get any role or right. However, as per our today's discussion, before doing or before circulate or before the joining or onboarding a user, we must assign the job responsibilities of that people before hiring that people. We must fix the scope of work of that new hired people. It's our responsibilities. Okay, so any question? So offboarding. So we have already completed the onboarding. That's mean when some people join our organization, we assign some work and what types of fraud they may perform and how can we detect the fraud of that people, of new hired people. So offboarding, transfer and termination process is the last stage. So for offboarding, that's mean it's just reverse of the onboarding. So someone may provide resignation or we fired someone. This is called the offboarding. So offboarding is the removal of an employee's identity from the identity and access management systems once that people has left the organization. But offboarding can also be element used when employee transfer into a new job position. So transfer, that's mean when someone get any new role or transfer from one department to another department. So we need to follow that rule. First of all, we revoke the role and rights of that people and assign further the new role and responsibilities. When a full offboarding is going to occur, disabling the or deleting the user account. Most of the cases as a security professional, we prefer disable the account but not delete the user account because there have some obligation like auditing related activities. So we don't prefer the deleting option. However, we just change the status or disable the account, retirement as per like that. So revoking the certificate, cancelling access code, terminating others specific granted privilege is so much important. It is common to disable account to prepare employees in order to retain the identity for auditing purpose for a few months. So it depends on the organization's policy. Say the organization say that after 6 months, you can delete the account, or after 1 year you can delete the account, because by this time we may face the audit, and the audit may related to that account. That's why we are not uh, delete the account. We just change the status of the account or employee. So if internal employee transfer should not use to move a problem employee into the different department rather than firing them. So if someone transfer another department, we just revoke the role and newly we assign the new roles. So if we see some question on onboarding or offboarding, termination. We can ask the question to our best friend. ChatGPT is our best friend, right? He can write a song for me. He can write a poem for me. He give the best suggestion. I think my network is very slow. So what will be the correct answer, please?
It seems to be B. Inform all the employees about the formal employee departure.
Most critical to ensure the security of the organization's information systems. So inform all employees. It's very simple. We can provide the notification. We can email all employee email. So I think easily we can, but the question is about the most critical. Collect all physical assets such as ID badge, update the organization's contact list. It's very simple, but one thing is that I am confused of why they just a board option A. Its correct answer is A.
Sir, in identity access management, I have seen that in banks, when somebody is terminated or has resigned, the System Security Administration is the first team that will take action to disable all the accesses.
Okay, but here they asked about which of the following action is most critical to ensure the security of the organization's information systems. Most critical. We have to find out the main keyword. So disable the employees' access to all systems and network immediately upon their departure. So let's go why A is the correct answer. Say disable the employees' access to all systems. Here all systems is a keyword. Is it possible? And the networks immediately upon their departure. So disabling access to systems and networks immediately upon an employee's departure is critical to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive information and reduce the risk of potential security breaches. While collecting physical asset and updating contact list are important, ensuring that the access to digital resources is terminated promptly is crucial for maintaining information security. So here digital resources, they highlight this thing, digital resources. Digital resource book, that's mean systems and network. So it's most critical and most important. Okay, clear? Any confusion? So in the exam guide, you will see something there like tips. There's been some alert, important notice they provide here. So it's important. So here they say that an internal employee transfer should not be used to move a problem employee into a different department rather than firing them. Most of the cases in some organization, I see that say one people do the fraudulent activities. He thefts some money, he transfers his balance to his own account, or is closely interconnected to any fraudulent activities. So in that cases, most of the organization takes some necessary action like transfer that people in a remote area or transfer that people to another department. But in CISSP, from the professional security perspective, they give the suggestion that we need to fire that people. We need to fire that people, but we don't transfer if that people do these types of fraudulent activities. The termination meeting should take place with at least one witness, preferably a higher level management or security guard. If we terminate any employee, so we know termination may be 2 ways. It may be the voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary means when the job duration is or contract is end, or if someone want to resignation, or after doing his tenure, say as for example in Bangladesh 60, when some people is the 60 years old, then regular retirement is applicable for that people. In these cases, we treat it as the voluntary termination. However, in some cases, if anyone do the fraudulent activities, management immediately sack him, and in these cases, we treat it as the non-voluntary. The termination meeting should take place with at least one witness, preferably a higher level manager and or security guard. It's suggested topics. An exit interview is very important. Actually, by arranging the exit interview, actually we can learn the lesson learned of that people. When some people work in an organization more than 20 years or 30 years or 50 years, when he departs from that organization, he can share his experience, his knowledge. For this reason, most of the cases, we arrange the exit interview for the lesson learned. So ex-employee must return all company's property. So like his access card, employee photo ID, a smart card, company smartphone, the company, each and everything. But we need to follow some rules for the priorities. So remove or disable the employee's user account at the same time or just before they are noticed of the being terminated. So we have two cases. If voluntary termination is performed here, the people may learn from tomorrow, just I have no job. So we have to wait until his last date. But if we do the involuntary, that's when if the people is doing or if the people are involved in any fraudulent activities and management want to sack that people immediately, in that cases, before knowing his termination, we need to revoke each and everything from that people. We need to disable the access of that people in our system. We need to collect the confidential and important asset from that people. This is the first step. Make sure the people returns any organization equipment and supply from their vehicle or home. Arrange for a member of the security department to accompany the released employee while they gather their personal belongings from the work area. Inform all security personnel and anyone who watches or monitor any entrance. So actually we have to inform each and every people of that organization, and if we are unable to inform that people may be hamper our regular activities. Say as for example, one people work in the data center of a organization and he is a well-known people. Most of the department, most of the branches learn or know that people. So in one case, management just sack that people. So it's not a good thing for that people. So that people just to go to a branch and uh, ask some help of the branch manager. He say that, boss, I need to work something. I need to connect in our data center for a emergency work. So if the branch manager is unaware or the branch manager not notified about the people's termination, he or she must allow, because he is a crucial people, he is well-known people of our organization. That's why he or she will allow that people to work from his branches. And if we don't revoke the logical access of that people, easily that people can access our system and can destroy our system or can down our system. For this reason, the organization may lose some financial value or may impacted by the reputational loss. So that's why inform all employees of the organization, notify all of the peoples of the organization is very much important. Here they provide some common activities. Example include performing any of the following: employee or officially informed the termination. IT department requesting the return of a mobile device. Mobile device, it may be the pen drive, external hard disk, or anything. Disable the network user account. Blocking personal identification numbers, PIN number or a smart card. Revoking a parking pass. Distributing a revised company organization. So actually, if we want to do these types of activities, the automated system is very much helpful in this regard. If each and everything is decentralized, then it will be very tough to ensure these types of activities. So in the corporate organization or well organized organization, they use the ERP solution or ERP system or a central system. When from the HR department just disable the employee's ID, then each and every portion will be disabled. He will not access anything like the parking pass, or he will not entrance in the building. Eh, he or she cannot do anything. So in the first section, I say that personnel means internal people, internal employee, third party vendor, or any people who is taking service from our organization, and any people from whom we will take the solution or service. So now we are discussing about the vendor, consultant, and contractors agreement and controls. So vendor actually provide the service or solution, and multi-party risks exist when several entities or organization are involved in a project. So if we engage any big vendor or third party, we need to perform the service level agreement. And before doing the service level agreement, first of all, we have to ensure the non-disclosure agreement, which ensure the confidentiality of the organization. And after doing the NDA, we can do the SLA, service level agreement. Service level agreement actually is very much important because it's a constitution, or it's the document. By using the document, we can easily identify what will be the role and responsibilities of the vendor and what types of activities is performed by ourselves. So the collaboration between the vendor and the service taker, the service level agreement is very much important. By clearly defining the expectation and penalties for external parties, everyone involved knows what is expected of them and what the consequences are in the event of failure to meet those expectations. You should ensure that the SLAs support the tenets of your security policy. So when we prepare the service level agreement, first of all, we have to see that security policy of our organization infrastructure actually what contain the service level agreement. In the service level agreement, most of the cases we prepare this service level agreement according to our requirement, like the RTO, recovery time objective, or RPO, recovery point objective. So what types of penalties the organization may provide? It may, if anything new requirement from our side, from the organization side, then how much we have to pay for this change. So these types of information we'll get in the service level agreement. Compliance policy requirement means a bank must have a regulatory body, like the central bank is the regulatory body of the bank. For the telecom industry, they have the regulatory body. So we must comply the policy requirement of our regulatory body. So compliance is a form of administrative or managerial security control because focus on policies and people adding those policies. So compliance enforcement efforts could be performed by the security officer, information security officer, or chief security officer. So when you get the designation, you try to find out the role and responsibilities of that specific people, a specific designation. Because when we prepare the question for the CISSP exam, in most of the cases we try to follow this document. When we collect the question or we prepare a question, we try to find out why this option is right and why another option is wrong. So privacy policy requirement. Privacy policy is very much important for personal identifiable information. In some countries, they strictly follow this one, like the GDPR, European Union. This country or this organization is follow the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. Another rules and regulation also applicable for the privacy policy requirement. So active prevention of unauthorized access to information that is personally identifiable. So what types of information is treated as the personally identifiable information? Say his date of birth, his mobile number, his email address, like that. So if we search another document, what types of information is treated as PII is very important, and most of the cases I suggest you should follow the NIST framework. NIST document is very much important. It's the mother document for CISSP. So in the CISSP, for example, there are some phases for the software development lifecycle. So when you see the steps or you search the steps in the internet, you will get different types of answers. But for CISSP, ICSP always suggests you that you should follow the NIST framework. It's so much important and it's so much authentic. And depending on the NIST framework, we prepare the question. So privacy policy requirement is related to the PII, freedom for unauthorized access to information and freedom for being observed, monitored, and examined without contest of consent or knowledge. So privacy policy is very much important. They provide some policy-related activities like the HIPAA, FERA, GDPR, GLBA, this type. And here they also mentioned GDPR regulation regulated by the EU, European Union, or SOX, or HIPAA, Health Organization Information, FERA, GLBA. So each and everything is related to the privacy policy. If you gather any type of information about any person or company, you must address privacy. So privacy is so much important. So any question from here? Say, for example, if we see one person, say, right here, GDPR. Hopefully, we will get many questions. Can you please answer this question? 99. Okay, we'll get missed option. B, C, D. We get 3 options till now. Okay. B, C, D. 3 options. So first of all, the strategy is like that. First of all, when we go through the question, we need to find out the main keyword of the question. Then we need to read the option. In the third step, again we read the question, but just for the keyword and try to answer. So in the first option, we'll see that we are going to find out the main keyword. Ben's New York-based commercial web service collects personal information. Collects personal information from California resident. So California resident, actually, in these cases, we have to maintain the Privacy Protection Act for the commercial website data collection. And what does the California Online Privacy Protection require Ben to do to be compliant? So here we are working in a place, New York-based commercial website. So website hosted or work in New York, but collect personal data from California resident. Both area is different. So what does the California Online Privacy Policy Act require Ben to do B compliant. Option A, no one give this option. Option B, then must comply with European Union GDPR. Must European Union GDPR. So in the option B, actually when we compare the or comply the European Union GDPR, it does not require in these cases because they notice that this data is compliant. These two areas are different. Option C, then must have a conspicuously posted privacy policy on his site. Privacy policy, he have to ensure the privacy policy in the New York-based commercial website. When we ensure the privacy policy in his website, obligation, we have no bindings because I ensured the privacy policy for my website for data collection procedure. So if we compare option B and C, definitely C is more important. So as for example, I stay in Bangladesh or India. However, I collect some data from the European Union. So if I ensure the security or if I ensure the privacy in my website in the regard of collecting the data, then I comply the rules and regulation. I have no problem. So C is most important than B. And in the D, then must provide notice and choice for user of his website. So privacy thing is available. Most of the pages they notify, I agree, terms and condition. But most important thing is that option C, then must have a conspicuously posted privacy policy on his site. He can do this work, and by doing this work, he comply the systems. Okay, let's go. It's the question number 99. So yes, C is the correct answer. And our C option was by ensuring the privacy in my website. So thank you, those who give the answer option C. Very tricky, definitely very tricky. And when we find out the keyword, then we can understand why this option is correct. That's why I always suggest you that the first time you have to find out the keyword, then eliminate at least two options, and then find out why B is more important than C. Because most of the cases we have confusion about two options. Okay. So is it clear to all of you why C is the correct answer? Okay, hopefully you understand. So understand and apply risk management concept. Easily we know that risk has a definition. So what is risk? Easily we can say that risk equal to probability into impact. Is a mathematical definition. This has another definition. This equal to asset value into threat into vulnerability. And vulnerability is the weakness of a system. And if a system has vulnerability, then there are different types of threat. Threat may be internal or external. However, we have to we have to mitigate the vulnerability by ourselves. That means vulnerability is always mitigated by the internal work. Vulnerability is always related to the internal things. And threat, it may be internal or external. Internal may performed by the people who have no knowledge by mistake or due to the lack of knowledge, and external, it may be the hacker, unauthorized people who want to access our systems. So when vulnerability exploit or threat exploit, there may be some financial losses or reputational losses, which is considered as the asset value. So this is the risk equation. And if 100% we cannot ensure the mitigation of risks, we cannot mitigate risks 100%. So actually what management do, they may reduce the risks as a acceptable level. So understand and apply risk management concept in this section. What's the responsibilities of the risk management, or what is the definition of risk management? And they provide this one according to this formula. The result of performing risk management for the first time is the skeleton of a security policy. So it's a very important. The result of performing risk assessment, that's mean the output of risk management is the skeleton of a security policy. If we want to prepare a security policy, then this will be very helpful for us. Okay, so the primary goal of risk management is to reduce the risk to an acceptable level, because 100% we cannot mitigate the risks. Okay, so risk management is composed of two primary elements: risk assessment and risk response. Risk assessment or risk analysis is the examination of environment for risks, evaluating its threat, event as to its likelihood of occurring and the severity of damage it would be caused. And risk response involves evaluating countermeasure, safeguard. So here two things is that countermeasure and safeguard is very much important. Safeguard is related to the preventive action. For the preventive control, we use, as a preventive control, we use the word safeguard. And for the corrective control, we use the word countermeasure. So when we implement any control, first of all, we have to analysis, or we have to identify the root cause analysis. If I use this control, will be the solution be secured or not? So return on investment, cost benefit analysis is very much important before implement or before selecting any security control. So there are some risk terminology like asset valuation, threat. You will get some question from here also. Threat agent, threat XOR, threat event, threat vector. So the marking document is available here. Vulnerability is the weakness of a system, and threat vector or threat attack is the path to means which attack or attacker can gain access. And exposure, that's mean exposure is being the susceptible of asset loss because of threat. So when the threat will be exploited, or when the threat is performed, then actually we may lose something which is considered as the asset value. It may be the reputation loss, or it may be the financial loss. So if we want to identify the risk level, then we can use the risk matrix. So according to the, it's maybe 3x3 matrix. This matrix is treated as 3x3. When we use another 2 column, add another 2 column, we say the 5x5 matrix. And it's very important if the asset classification is very important, or for sensitive data and information, we use the 5x5 matrix. So here is the impact, here is the probability, and it may be the low, medium, high. The probability also the low, medium, and high. Any question? Okay. So by performing the risk assessment, actually we take care from the highest risk area. As tested here, asset valuation. Here some question, you will get some question, mathematical question may come from this chapter, because each and everything is related to the mathematical term. So identify the threat and vulnerabilities. We have already discussed vulnerability is the weakness of a system, and for the vulnerabilities we have to face some threat. It may be internal or external. Risk assessment analysis phase. You have to follow some phases also. So if we want to analyze the risks, it may be qualitative as well as quantitative. So for qualitative, it means we are not presenting this value in monetary or numerical. However, nowadays we can assign this one to a numeric value. Say, as for example, when risk equal to high, and if we assign high equal to 5, or medium equal to 3, or low equal to 1, then it's we see that is semi-qualitative or quantitative. And when we find the output in the numerical value, easily we can identify the qualitative risk analysis. There are some reasons, technique to perform the qualitative risk analysis. Each and everything is very important. It's not just the point. You have to read each and every option: brainstorming, storyboarding, focus groups, survey, questionnaires, checklist, one-on-one meeting, interview scenarios. So they provide a scenario, and you have to find out which techniques is followed in this scenario to identify the risks. So here each and every scenario discussed. First of all, they discuss about the Delphi technique. Delphi technique is simply an anonymous phased and response process. The participants are usually gathered into a single meeting room and ask different types of questions. It's the Delphi technique. Here is the equation, and you will get the question from here. Asset value, inventory asset, stated as the asset value, number 1. Exposure factor, considered as the EF. And for its assess threatening pairing, calculate the exposure factor. Single loss expectancy, SLE. Annualized rate of occurrence. That's mean in a year, how many times it may be happen. It's the annual rate of occurrence. And when we calculate this one, actually we find out the annualized loss expectancy. So the equation is here. First of all, here is a calculation. It's important. Say SLE, single loss expectancy, equal to asset value into exposure factor. SLE equal to AV into EF, exposure factor. So they provide some example here also. Annualized loss expectancy equal to SLE into ERO. Single loss expectancy into annualized rate of occurrence. And more simply, they say that ALE equal to SLE into ERO. And SLE equal to asset value into exposure factor. We have to find out the quotient. Say, as for example, if we go to the quotient, we say ARO. Just a minute. Just allow me 1 or 2 minutes. Say here is a question 53. Question number 53. Can you please try to give the answer of this question? I'm trying to show you that you will get some mathematical question in your exam, because in the exam center in the exam software, on top of the left corner, you will get a calculator. If you need any calculation, you just click on the calculator button, you can calculate. That's why I said that you will get some question there also. So can you please give the answer? Anyone please try to give the answer. Actually, in the question, they ask about you're working to evaluate the risks of flood to an area as part of the business continuity plan effort. It's unnecessary thing. You consult the flood map from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. According to those map, the area lies within a 200 years line. 200 years flood. It's mean that annualized rate of occurrence that's mean 200 years. In 200 years, it may occur only one. So what is the annualized rate of occurrence? So easily, if we divided this
0.01.
0.01. So it's talking about the annualized rate of occurrence of the flood in this region. In this region. So if I multiply this 1 divided by 200, can you? It's related to option 1 divided 200. You just use your calculator.
0.
Am I right? 1 divided 200 equals to 0.005. That's why D is the correct answer. Yeah. 0.02 is not the correct answer, and D is the correct answer because 1 divided by 200 equal to 0.005. Okay. Any confusion? I think most of the professional is tired today. My class is almost closing here. So I just try to find out some calculation things, how you should read this one. Here,
Do you have
something
the
is.
recording of this?
Yeah. Recording. I will share the recording.
Okay.
Yeah, some risk response. Risk response, that's mean if we want to mitigate or reduce the risks, then how we respond the risks. First of all, it may be a different way, like some risks may be treated some risks may accept. And if we want to mitigate the risks, actually we need to apply the control to mitigate the risks. So our main target is to ensure the risks in a acceptable level. Sir, here some thing is this, risk appetite is the total amount of risks that an organization is willing to shoulder in aggregate across all assets. Risk appetite. An organization desired risk appetite may be greater than its actual capacity. Risk tolerance is the amount or level of risk that organization will accept for individual. So how can we mitigate the risks? By implement the preventive control, that's mean by ensure the safeguard, by apply the countermeasure, that's mean means the corrective control. We may use the deterrent control. Deterrent control, that's mean sometimes we provide some signal or some image or some indicators. So as for example, beside the room there has a dog, or don't it's an emergency area, emergency exit, or your activity is under the CCTV. Your activities is monitoring by the CCTV. That's when we discourage some people don't work something, is treated as the deterrent control. So in the portion of the exam, you will get something like the symbol or something like that for the security camera or warning banner. Using security guard is the example of a deterrent control. They will provide some example. So we have to find out which of the following is say about the deterrent control. Risk avoidance is very much important and so much effective. Avoid the risk, that means will not go the way in which way the risk may perform. So if we employ the avoidance, actually the organization may invest some more, because it's the alternative way. And when we accept the risks or management accept the risks, when the asset value is smaller than the control value, that's when control value is more than the asset value, then management accept the risks. So as for example, you purchase or your company give you a mobile, and when you say your management boss, I need a back cover or glass protector to protect my mobile, then your management asks you how much you have to pay for this one. You say that boss, it's 12,000 rupee or $12,000. So how can it possible? The price of this mobile is only 10,000. However, you ask 12,000. Okay, fine. If the mobile is destroyed, not an issue. I will purchase another new one. This is the way when asset value is less than the control value or control value is more than the asset value, then management actually take the or accept the risks. Risk rejection, its negligence is very much bad practice, because you have to take officially action, or if you want to accept these risks officially, you have to declare this one. Inherent risk is that risk actually where before implementing any control, the total risk is considered as the inherent risk, and after implement the control, the risk is considered as the residual risk, the extra risks. So after implementing the risks, the system have another risks also. So this extra risk is considered as the residual risk. Here residual risk equal to total risk minus control gap. Some equation is available here. So the equation you will get each and everything here also. It's very much important. We just calculate 1% from here. So countermeasure. These are all about in the domain 2. There are some control, administrative control, say policy procedure, training. It's related to the administrative control, technical or logical control, like implement the firewall, encryption, IDS, IPS. Technical thing when we implement is the technical control, and physical control is like the guard, fence, motion detector. So in the exam, you will get a question like this way: say, which of the following is the example of physical control? So they may mention one example from here, and another 3 options they may provide from the logical control or the administrative control. So we have to find out the right answer from here. Preventive control, we have discussed this one. Compensating control is that after implement the control, if the system has another weakness, so when existing control has some weakness, then we have to implement another control, and this is called the compensating control. So if the existing system or existing control have some vulnerability or weakness, then we have to implement the another control, and this types of control is called the compensating control. Corrective control, the example is very much important, like the backup, we take backup. It's not the preventive control, actually it's the corrective control. So okay, these are one, and each and everything already discussed today. End of life and end of support is very much important. You may get some question from here, at least one question. End of life, that's mean the system, the organization or the producer will not produce any more system. So for the example, Nokia one brand, and the model is say as for example M31. The Nokia management, they decide that will not produce any more mobile model number F31 from the September. So the end of life of this model is September, and the mobile which is produced in the September or October, at least 2 years or 1 years, we have to provide the warranty time. So we have to ensure the support service of the player. So next year September, up to next year September, we have to provide the support. So it's called about the end of support. So definitely end of support is greater than end of life. Okay, end of support is greater than end of life. There are different types of risk management framework. Here, how we ensure the risk management framework, and different types of model also here. According to the NIST framework, risk management framework, they follow here. So if you want to learn more details about the risk management framework, you can visit the ISO or NIST. Some reference also available here. So NIST risk management framework, ISACA risk management framework, POSO, Octave Tara. So you will get question like that, which of the following is not example of risk management framework, or which of the following is the example of risk management framework. So I always suggest you that you just take your personal note. Say you write risk management framework and you just write down the name. If you can, you just make a small sentence, a keyword that you easily memorize this thing. In the CISSP exam, It's a managerial exam. You have to think like a manager. However, you have to memorize something also. Social engineering, it's a mixed domain. So another domain we'll discuss about this. Okay, no important issue here. So thank you. Any question from today's session? Thank you very much. Still more than 12 people connected here. I'm not sure you understand today's session or not.
Yes, we understand the session, and it is very well. You explained many things shortly, and we got the idea about the questions and answers related to exams. And hopefully, I am confident that when we will finish this, I can pass the exam.
Actually, CISSP is a continuous process. Each and every day, if you invest some time, I believe you can achieve this certification. Just continuation is very much important. So I'm sharing the a link of my channel after the processing of this one. I will I will upload the video in here. So just a minute, I shared the channel link. Just a minute. In the chat box, I share the domain chapter 1 lecture is available here. Okay. Just I share the chapter 1 lecture. So just follow this channel. I will upload the chapter 2 lecture also. So any question or any suggestion?
Hello, Farouk.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
I think there is a issue in your microphone. Okay, thank you.
hello.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. Actually, mine is not a question. I think, but it's an. I want just to inquire something. The session was very fruitful for some of us, like myself personally. I like it, and it's my first time to attend it because I think I followed you some time back, but I saw the notification, so I followed. I found you already started, but it was really a very informative session. I don't know. I was going to follow the YouTube as well, but what I wanted to know is that for some of us, the interest about those who really wanted to be part of security. I've worked in IT for 10 years, but I wanted to move to security, cybersecurity. I wanted to know your guidance as a senior in the field. What do you think we should do? Like, like I've seen in this course at CISSP, it is very broad. There's a lot of information,
Yes.
a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
terminology. Yeah. So what is your guidance actually?
I suggest you that first of all, if you want to move your career in cybersecurity, you can do some free certification like certified in cybersecurity is provided by ICSSP. The CISSP certification also provided by the same certification body, ICA Square. So you can do the free certification, and I shared my personal website here. The roadmap, I shared the roadmap in my website here. Just a minute, I'm sharing the website link here. You just click and you will see a list what types of certification, if you want to move in the cybersecurity, what types of activities you have to perform. And you can follow my LinkedIn. I regularly provide lots of document which is fully free. So in the expert level, I prefer you have to do some certification which is paid, like CISSP or CISM. But initially, you can, if you want to learn a certification and practical experience, totally different. So if you move to cybersecurity, definitely you need to learn some hands-on session. CISSP is a managerial certification, but certified in cybersecurity is not managerial. It's little bit a very early level certification. Anyone can do this certification. It's not related only for the IT professional, but any people who work in management, accounting, auditing, from any domain, any can do this certification. There have no requirement, extra requirement. So you can start from there. And you just knock me in my LinkedIn. I have some group in for cybersecurity professional, certified in cybersecurity, CISSP. I'll try my best to add in my group. And most of the participant of the group is so much helpful. They will help you, as well as if I have any information, I also shared my information in that group. Okay.
So,
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hi, Farouk.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you very much for the session. I've been following most of the sessions and even the questions you've been posting in the group. So I just request for your guidance. I'm torn in between two certifications, that is CISA and CISSP. Currently, I'm doing an internal audit role. So I just needed your guidance. Which certification is better to maybe take in that?
I always
Yeah.
prefer ISACA CISA certification because CISA certification is the world-renowned certification, and out of the top 5 certifications, CISA is one of them. Top 5 certification, and CISA certification can do anyone. IT professional as well as business professional. Anyone can do this certification, and it's world renowned certification because ISACA provided certification from 1978, and that's why I request you to complete this certification easily. If you search the internet like that, say CISA job in Australia. Any country, Australia, England. Just you click here, you'll get a lots of the job. And if you want to do the remote job, easily you can do the job here. They provide lots of requirements, CISA certification. Huge job available here, CISA related. Okay. So if you say it's the renowned audit sector, audit firm, RSM. So here That's educational requirement. Yeah. The desired certified information systems auditor. So I request you can do the CISSP certification. And I am the membership director of ISACA Dhaka chapter. ISACA, that's the Information System Audit and Control Association. So I work as a voluntary, it's a volunteer position. So you can do this certification, and after doing the certification, you can try for the CISSP. It will be helpful for it.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. So thank you, everyone. Hopefully, if I have any time, then in the next week, I will try my best to conduct another session. And I also provide free session on CISSP. So if you want to join my session, you're most welcome. So thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe and close. Bye.